Says we're good. I feel rusty. What's going on, folks? Hope you're having a terrific day. Bear with me as I kick off this stream on Instagram. Looks like we're good there. Holy smokes. Time to rip the freaking muzzles off yet again. Okay, why am I not getting verified here on Rumble? This is just crazy, I tell you. What a crazy adventure. What am I even doing? Is it working? I apologize. I don't know what's going on with Rumble. Is the commercial only continually playing? Or is the stream now working? Uh-oh. Did I just shoot myself in the foot by trying to integrate this Ensure a Patriot commercial before our episode? Oh my gosh, there we go. Finally verified. I apologize. What a rough start. But can't let that hinder us from showing up and to whatever abilities we have. Welcome to a muzzled chat. So I might have to just start focusing on taking care of mine. If I had to boil things down to the biggest issue it seems we're facing with actually has to do with cognitive dissonance. Manipulation warfare, the information warfare. People have been lulled into a false sense of security in this country. They look around them and because they seemingly aren't under attack today. Oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine in this country. Are you kidding me? Everything's fine. And you're totally ignoring the actual threat that, yes, you are facing each and every day. From the frequency warfare, the spraying of the skies, the bio warfare, the poisoning of food, the pandemic that just took place, the invasion of our country, the occupation of our own government, the conquering. It's currently occupied and it's not being operated as designed by we the people. And that is a grave threat. It's literally a two-tiered system. It's a hierarchy. We can see it clear as day, plain as day. As real as I am before you, or this voice as you hear it right now. And yet we're disconnected to such a great extent. We're not showing up effectively to face these threats. Heck, we're not even championing those willing to lose it all, throwing themselves before the wolves to even our own benefits. So whether it's kind of irrelevant whether my presentation has not caught enough people and blown up enough, because the reality of it is we're fighting against all sorts of algorithms. And there is a humbling to this whole experience that, you know what? Maybe my skills just aren't being applied effective enough, or I don't necessarily have the skills to effectively show up in this space, in this matter. And if that's the case, I will happily eat humble pie and go about my business and whatever impacts I can have. I just saw extreme value to this digital space and continually showing up in this magnitude, because it really, not just to magnify my own voice, but to magnify true Americans, true patriots, true just individual stories and testimonials, whatever we could provide to help create answers, solutions to living better lives and securing our freaking future for ourselves and for our future generations. It's hard for me to even say that because, frankly, it doesn't feel as though there's going to be future generations. Let me be frank. Biblically, as I dive into it, there is a grave sense of urgency. And I know throughout human history, there's been individuals that have sounded the alarm like, we're in the last days, we're in the last days, the world is ending, the world is ending. Well, genuinely, looking at the historical evidence of the citizenry in this country and other places just continually accepting egregious outcome after egregious outcome, well, finally, the threats have been magnified to such a magnitude that if we don't shift that history and we don't show up now, that the world genuinely is ending. That we literally live in the latter days. And every day that goes by without these threats being effectively, properly addressed is just one day closer to that end. So is it doom and gloom? No, am I telling you? No, it's actually an exciting time. If we can't effectively right this ship, well, then we best seek the reason as to why we're here and fulfill our purpose here. So above anything I say, seek God's will for you. Seek salvation through Jesus Christ. As far as like I've found, that is the singular path and the beautiful blessing like to come upon in this existence. He paved a way for us when there was none. Do you know any other mortal being that came down here in the flesh and conquered death? Lived that life sinfully, unmuzzled. Just truth after truth. And we humans crucified him for it. Well, it has been a hill I've been willing to die on, and I definitely will continue on that path. I just need to start putting efforts towards taking care of mine, those around me, and family members in a sense, because in a huge sense, I'll be real, this isn't cutting it. I'm making great sacrifice, but at the point I don't have the funds to get by or put the nutrition I need in my body, then there's more likely a more responsible as a man path to take in this existence. I mean, it would be great if more people would actually see what we're trying to do here and magnify what we're doing here and support what we're doing here. I would cancel all my accounts. If I wasn't making this investment, I would be putting that money of Netflix or what have you toward another patriot. But I'm pooling it here. Anyway, you know what? It's enough. It's enough about me. So ultimately, I'll just show up to the capacity I'm able to futuristically. That's just how it is. If more people like what we're doing here and they want to get on board and enable me to show up full-time, fan-freaking-tastic, I'll do just that. But, yeah, so who knows? So, as of right now, I feel the most important message to really dive into and share with folks, because as I've had conversations with even loved ones in my life, family members, friends, this still seems to be reigning supreme. And I've been there. I'm not here to cast stones. We could all acknowledge and properly absorb this very threat that we pose to ourselves with cognitive dissonance. So the very definition, as far as brave's concerned, and I believe there's better ones out there, and we'll go over one powerful one. It's actually in the description below. But it reads, it refers to the mental state of discomfort, tension, or stress that arises when an individual's beliefs, values, or actions are inconsistent with each other. This inconsistency creates a sense of psychological unease, promoting the person to either change their behavior. That's rare. It's more so the beliefs to reduce the dissonance or the rationalize the inconsistency. So they self-rationalize versus seeking truth. What's this discrepancy? And it's just this disconnect. And we're not showing up. So we're not effectively seeing the threats, which isn't going to ignite the sense of urgency to fulfill one's purpose. It's all deceit. The devil has been so effective on his throne, speaking from his synagogue of Satan, just mass deception, leading all sorts of individuals to not even plug in, just to get wrapped up in this life, not even plugged into why are we here? What is the reasons, leading to God. And then even those that believe in God or believe in Jesus, also under the deception and we'll go over some of them. It doesn't even necessarily have to all be religious. Okay. So I like an ending here. It states, by acknowledging and understanding cognitive dissonance, individuals can better manage this mental state and making more consistent choices that align with their values and beliefs. This, I believe, is even better put. Sometimes people hold a core belief that is very strong, and I've been there. We're going to go over 9/11 here in just a bit. In full depth? Absolutely not. No, there's too much information. I want to gain bigger picture to this very episode than honing in too much and getting lost in the weeds. But hopefully we'll go through enough that it will highlight exactly what is happening on an individual level, how we are falling more so under deception than willing to face the truths. So sometimes people hold a core belief that is very strong. Let's just say the 9/11 narrative. When they are presented with evidence that works against that belief, the new evidence cannot be accepted because it's challenging. This is so profound. I don't even know if I could effectively articulate it enough to really drive this point home. So let's just continue with this actual quote. It cannot be accepted. It would create a feeling that is extremely uncomfortable called cognitive dissonance. And because it is so important to protect this, whatever it may be, core belief, individuals, I have been guilty, will rationalize and ignore the very evidence that's being brought forth and even deny anything that does not fit in with the core belief. Fratz Fanon. Now, I obviously added some words in there. You can read it. I challenge you to read it just for yourself. Absorb this into, and you can apply this to any of the deceit going on, and so much of the deceit going on in this world. How much deceit, the talking heads and that war machine, the weaponization of centralizing information against we the people for freaking generations now. Since early newspapers, since early king and queens. They understood this. World leaders understood this dating way back. They would pit their people against each other. Soon as they realized the walls of their kingdom weren't as thick and defensible to the rulers, so the rulers would pit and spread division and lies and things again to get the people focused on this and that and not the real solutions that are to be had, or potential the real threats that they're facing and the real tyranny they've been facing all this time. There is no difference from then till today other than they've been really effective. Now we've obtained a very awesome moment in history where the floodgates have opened, where they weren't able to fully muzzle and control. They still have all the talking heads. Oh yeah, they own all that, and they're giving a delusion to the American people, and so many people are still falling prey under the delusion as though they have a choice between Fox and CNN, when in fact they're just reporting enough to deceive individuals as though they have choice, but they still what? They still cater to their slave masters. They are still owned by this new world order. Call it the cabal, call it whatever you want. It's essentially all falling under, what does deceit fall under? Evil, the devil, and the synagogue of Satan. And we're in the latter days, so we're going to continue to use those biblical references because it is nothing shy than that. Anything that would infringe upon our First Amendment and speaking out is nothing other than coming from the synagogue of Satan. Now, they'll pull the wool over people's eyes under the guise of, oh, all this weaponization of words, misinformation, disinformation, racism, anti-Semitism, and they try using these things to prey on the hearts of us to where we even allow legislation and things to get passed to our own detriment, not realizing the origins of this, what they're doing is actually from the synagogue of Satan. They're literally just putting on the sheep's clothing, disguising their wolfness, and it's posing great threat to all of us. The fact we haven't entirely grasped this to this point after so many experiences, I don't get it. We have become our worst own enemies. And that's why we've constantly tried sounding the alarm here on how crucial it is we up our resilience. We maintain our health, our spiritual connections. We take better words, James. We take better care over our mind, intelligence, memory, body, soul, the whole nine. Okay, let's kill the music here for just a sec. And holy smoke. Okay, so we just dove into that, went into the description. Let's just keep that in our mind the whole time. Now, I want, before addressing 9/11, what's the point? Let's get into that intent. Well, I see the same rulers, this two-tiered infrastructure, call it whatever you want. This true deception's coming from the globalists, the cabal, the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the elites, the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, the Vatican, the royal families, the Rothschilds, the West Central banks, all fall under this synagogue of Satan. And it's against God's children. It's against we the people. I mean, I didn't even mean to get into this right now, but let's go ahead and acknowledge this. Right here, the Georgia Guidestones, these globalists, these devil worshippers, these evil individuals, and it's hard to grasp. It's like, oh, 9/11 can't be that. Oh, the COVID couldn't be that. The shot, the vaccine, their solution couldn't be that. Are you kidding me? These people have projected and talked about it. I mean, do I need to play the clip from Bill Gates praising health services, praising vaccinations and how it could have this lovely effect of depopulating the world by 10 or 15%, which is fulfilling their other actual propagandist bullshit narrative? Pardon my French, but I'm a little flustered. Whatever it's going to take, really, even, I mean, I shouldn't be walking in sin, but it's, if I got to smack some truth into some individuals, then gosh darn it. I mean, it is bullshit. It's lies. It's deceit. Don't let them fool you. They've said it themselves. All sorts of projections, all sorts of manifestation, and look no further. This is part of this synagogue of Satan. It's all the same secret society, the group, the club, the cult that we are not a part of. However, somehow some narratives were deceived to in fact support to our own demise. The cognitive dissonance we're to acknowledge so we could effectively see things and not fall prey to their propagandist narratives to our detriment. So they want to maintain humanity, a number of population under 500 million in this world. Okay. Now they use fancy words like in perpetual balance with nature and this and that. Like, are you freaking kidding me? The loving creator of it all that spoke it all into existence is limited beings here. He wouldn't look after and ensure that we had the ability. This is all evil, folks. We haven't even come close to negatively impacting this planet. We haven't even come close to tapping out its resources at all. Quite on the contrary. And these evil doers are ruling out one of the craziest things. Like, as you know what? We're not even gonna go there. Let's just continue. Let's grasp the big picture, because it is true evil. And when you understand that they are capable, because it's hard to wrap your mind around, how do you understand evil when you're not actually worshiping the devil, when you're not actually seeking direction from him? We can't even fathom as to the evil that these individuals are actually capable, actually fulfilling, and becoming very successful at doing. This is one of those narratives. I took it hook, line, and sinker. I didn't understand. I mean, it's just like the Matrix. You know, I was still blue-pilled. But think about it for a second. The same talking heads. It's not like they were just recently bought out and owned, folks. It's been for a long time. Okay? The Synagogue has infiltrated the information mainstream for a very long time. So let's just play this one clip here. And I just want you to have an open mind. And I ask you, after safe and effective, I mean, the empire of lies, okay? The manipulation, the deceit, putting out misinformation. They themselves project everything they in fact fulfill. Everything. Time and time again. And there hasn't been any apologies, any acknowledgement, any accountability. So they just continue to perpetuate the lies and fulfill their actual propagandist narratives to our detriment from the Synagogue of Satan. So anyway, you're to believe the talking heads at this day and not these individuals. Let this one clip be enough for you to actually question this narrative. Let this one clip. Think, like, actually, do not walk in cognitive dissonance on this topic at the point we just went over. Your core belief now on that. Come on. Let's not be foolish. It's not just foolish, it would be insane to our own detriment not to have open eyes, open heart after time and time again what they've done. It's unbelievable.
And then heard this noise that seemed to come from everywhere, but had no idea what it was. And then the South Tower just exploded. It just blew up. And somebody said that was a plane. And it's like, I was underneath it. I was looking at the tower. I had my camera in my hand. I heard the noise. I never saw the airplane. I was less than 100 yards away from the building. I was standing on West Street.
He had this view.
That's this man's view right here.
Each in the flight path is separated by 1 second. David Hanshu would have been able to see the plane for at least 6 seconds. He would have been able to hear it coming for considerably longer than that.
Right.
The South Tower just exploded. It just blew up. I was underneath it. I was looking at the tower. I had my camera in my hand. I never saw the airplane.
No second plane. It was a bomb. Bombed another building, not second plane. That was a bomb. Who said the second plane?
Who said?
That's what we're told. The second plane. We saw it on television.
I saw everything.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
What happened was I was down in the basement. All of a sudden we heard a loud bang. And the elevator doors blew open. Some guy was burnt up. So I dragged him out. His skin was all hanging off. So I dragged him out and I pulled him out of the parking lot. This was what was left on it. Pulled him out. When I pulled him out, I looked up and the second bomb blew off. Just saw a big burst.
All of a sudden.
I want to point out, someone has cognitive dissonance. Someone left during this very clip, not even willing to hear what eyewitnesses saw that day. Unbelievable. This clip actually doesn't even have them all. There's in fact a couple news stations that didn't have the doctored footage yet, and they talk about the bomb because there was no plane, and they literally were streaming live footage of, and we've captured that. They've tried deleting all that. They've tried suppressing all that information. Now, this is just one of the angles, folks. One of the angles. We could sit here, we could play. There's over 100 structural engineers. I mean, you just think of the actual image, like of one of the World Trade Centers. You know what? We're actually gonna play a clip on that and kind of touch on that point. But there's so many things that prove that what was told that day through the mainstream, surprise, surprise, wasn't in fact the whole truth at all. Not even close. And when you look into their kind of BS narrative on the terrorist side of things, and you start connecting the dots, and there's other individuals, there's actually common sense would tell you, when you dive into enough information, why this actually took place. It is so clear, and the disconnect, and it was to our detriment. Dare I say, inside job. Dare I say, individuals right here in America, 100% proven, you can't even argue the fact, individuals that bought up these properties profited from it, and then there are other profitable things, and this is why it matters. This is why I want to touch on it, is because the wool, the deceit, got pulled over our eyes so effectively, we even united as a country, which was, okay, side note, a beautiful thing to see. However, we united under a false flag to go commit atrocities abroad to supposed terrorists that posed threats that, in fact, when you really connected all, the CIA and certain groups were actually behind creating to deceive us, to engage in who's really benefiting. We lost lives that day right here on American soil. We lost lives sending our women and our young men and women overseas to fight for decades, these endless wars. And there are individuals, that synagogue of Satan, people at the top, this two-tiered infrastructure that gravely enriched themselves. So it's like this whole industrial war complex that is getting reignited. Oh, surprise, surprise, at the very end of this current fake administration. And we can't read behind the lines. That's why I gravely challenge the blind allegiance to Israel. I get so much biblical doctrine connects to that. But study the Bible. Study the Word. There's historical importance to the Old Testament, to understanding, God's creation, how it all came to be what it is now. But after the new covenant through Jesus Christ, do tribes matter? Does the blood lineage even matter anymore? No. It's ending up a narrative that's creating more division, creating muzzledness, so we can't, like evil to pull the wool over our eyes, so we can't even effectively acknowledge the true issues. And it's so dumb that we're getting wrapped up into other endless wars to the threat when we have our own stinking issues here. And we'll dive into that. Okay. It is so clear. These evildoers, they do not care. The ones that made it into our positions of power of this country that are supposed to fulfill an oath and protect we the people, they're not doing that. They care more about other borders. They care about, and it's not because they care about those people. They're enriching themselves. They're killing more. It is unbelievable how dumb, how cognitively disconnected we are from the actual truth. Think about Jesus and how he talked about Gentiles and everything in the end times. We're all going to be sitting at that table. So at that point, what blood lineage, what freaking matters? You're bathed in the blood of Christ. He made the ultimate sacrifice. Unbelievable. Let's continue on this narrative.
You heard a loud explosion, so we all ran to look. And the first building was a big hole on the side of it, and on the other side went in flames. So we stood there in shock. Everyone screaming. A woman collapsed on me. I had to lay her down on my textbooks. And then before you know it, out of nowhere, the next building blew up. And then all of a sudden, everybody's in
plane.
Everyone's running all over the place. The panic attack.
We actually didn't see the second plane, but we saw the explosion hit the other tower.
No plane.
It has to be a bomb, right? Yes, of course.
Bomb.
That exploded right in front of us.
No, a bomb. I saw it. No plane hit nothing.
That is not a plane. They don't know what they're talking about. How would they see a plane hit that?
Dude, I saw the second explosion. That was no plane that hit the second building. It exploded from the inside out.
I did not see a plane. They said the plane hit the first building. The second building just exploded.
That looks like a second plane.
I did not see a plane go in. That just
no plane.
Exploded.
And we can actually play the footage. I know people want to argue it, reverse argue it. Well, they could have digitally gotten rid of the plane. There's literally undoctored footage of the planes hitting where the wing in one segment, if you watch it frame by frame, it's there fully intact and then it disappears. So it's actually a glitch in their digital injection of the aircraft. And then as it passes through this other building, the image, you could see it. And then as soon as it starts, it's getting cut off by the other building due to their limited graphics abilities in that era. Like, so even the footage they used showing these planes is defective. Okay, just actually proves the point. Now, let's just continue. Let's touch on another narrative, or another, like, just use your mind on this one. Okay, this actually confirms in a way, but they more logically lay it out. The actual engineers that looked into the blueprints or were a part of the building and everything, like, of some, I believe, actually had to do with the trade centers, and then others had to do with other, skyrise, and never. There's been multiple big fires in skyrise buildings, and not one of them the structural integrity was in fact compromised or went down other than this particular day. This is the only time throughout human history one of these mega structures actually failed due to fires. So, and even if, let's just say, they were able to laser or something to that nature, let this prove the point is to small mass, large mass, and just basic physics. Use your own brain. Use your own gut instinct. It cannot happen the way it happened without additional things being in place, such as demolition and a plan which changes the whole narrative. And I know it's a scary thing to grasp. I know it's a difficult thing to grasp, but let's just play this one.
I came across an analogy of the Twin Towers, and if you could visualize cast iron stoves
stacked. One on
Great
top of each
visualization.
other. The stoves up at the top, yes, there's fire and they've been damaged. But the stoves on the bottom, they haven't been damaged.
Okay.
So the structure underneath all of that is intact. So it's impossible for a building to collapse near free fall speed and increase
in speed.
Controlled demolition.
You're running into the path of most resistance.
Right.
Something else is going on. I came across
most resistance, the way it collapsed upon itself. And then so many folks don't even look into the building 7 that was unscathed, but it supposedly had an office fire, and that was a mega infrastructure. I mean, it looked relatively small next to the trade centers. But anyway, it seems too many Americans aren't even willing to challenge their core beliefs. I get how effective it was that day, how it preyed on the emotion. I almost enlisted over it due to just that. But it was to our detriment. Like, they effectively pulled the wool over our eyes, and we must humble ourselves. If we can't humble ourselves on these narratives and challenge ourselves to, I mean, it is insane to judge a book by its cover. We've proven time and time again on this very podcast as to how the talking heads have been weaponized against we the people. How is it just we are blindly entrusting those talking heads in that narrative and what got played to us versus the incredible amount of eyewitnesses there that day that we just played some of them, that they were like, no, there was no plane, it was a bomb. And there's firefighters and policemen that verify that same narrative. They also verify the multiple explosions heard when the trade centers went down and building 7 went down, like as a controlled demolition. So right here, you're going to allow their narratives to go against your own gut instinct with the whole cast iron analogy. I mean, yeah, it's beautiful. There was so much steel, concrete, and into all that. It couldn't have collapsed upon itself and even gained momentum. Are you kidding me? It just doesn't even make sense. And when you start connecting the dots as to ones that actually profited from all of this, oh, wow. All of a sudden, and with that evidence, it doesn't even become more believable. It's just, that's clearly what took place. It makes way more sense than the narrative they conjured up and spun. And it became kind of the consensus in our history books. Unbelievable. But there's great blessing when you challenge that. All of a sudden your eyes get opened on like more historical events such as World War II, things of that nature. And you just see how these damn globalists, to the detriment of people, to the enrichment of themselves, have successfully led to so much innocent loss of life. They've gained so much that the very freedoms we feel we have anymore. So I apologize. I got another podcast I'm supposed to be on. It's, well, actually not a podcast. It's just a Lime group. And so many are freaking suffering. Oh my gosh. So I have my limitations. And I'm genuinely questioning the efficiency as to what I'm even doing here. It is extremely hard to show up on behalf of a bunch of folks that don't even want to take the threats we're exposing serious for themselves. We're just going to continue. But it would be one thing if I financially could continue and survive in this existence. But yeah, I got to look into some options here. So this right here, within 5 minutes, starts painting a bigger picture for everyone. I'll add these in the link below. I mean, this gentleman even does, even though the other might have touched on bigger key points. I like the way this man speaks, and to me, it's more so fulfilling the whole truth than the talking heads.
9/11, you want to talk about that? Let's talk about CGI. You know what that is? Computer.
I apologize. I got this. Ooh. What did I do? I got this super sped up. Should just do that.
Graphics, generated images. You know what CGI is? You know what deep fake videos are? I know you know what photoshopping is. 2001, the estimate was there was $3.5 trillion. That was the estimate. That had been stolen from the defense budget.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to have hearings starting on November the 12th to discuss that money that had been stolen and was missing. That was your money, by the way.
Not a coincidence.
And then all of a sudden, on 9/11, what appeared to be a plane hit one building, what appeared to be a plane hit another building. Then later that night, another building fell down that wasn't hit by a dead gum thing.
Building 7.
It was the building that went down, Building 7, that had all the paperwork in it with respect to the missing money. And the Pentagon got hit by a missile. There were no plane fragments found anywhere on any of the sites.
Right.
New York, Pennsylvania, the Pentagon.
False
and it just happened to hit where the papers were about the missing money.
Unbelievable.
There are no coincidences.
Right.
We got played.
Yep.
We got played by people that are so evil that for money, they killed 2,800 Americans on that day, including policemen and firefighters. If George Bush 43 is not already in hell, then he needs to go to jail before he goes to hell, because he is a criminal.
I mean, wrap your mind around that. It's an egregious outcome that we haven't even sought any accountability, and we have allowed these institutions to just totally pull the wool over our eyes and not see it for what it actually is. Could you only imagine what they're capable of fast forward? Well, look no further than stolen elections. Look no further than an invasion of our country. Look no further as to the irresponsible spending to their gains and our detriment. We have doubled our tax without even being under tax, just through the hyperinflation. We are all feeling that pain. We're not doing anything. Golly, we know evil's in this world. We know there's evil doers, and there's people that just live and get off on power and control, and we're not facing them when we're the majority. I don't get it. We've literally gotten to a point that your jobs don't freaking matter. Truly. Everything we're engaged in our little lives don't matter. There's a spiritual battle, war happening. World War III has been happening, and we've never even been closer to actual World War III that we would more so acknowledge with all the things happening abroad and here and whatnot. So it does become biblical. It has been prophesied, and frankly, I don't see us righting the ship. I just don't. So what more important conversation is there to have other than getting right with God and seeking His will for you? And if He leads you to just hone in and focus on your family, protect your family, then who am I to speak out against that? That's the right path. Now, as long as it's obviously coming from our loving Creator God, and once again, you're not falling under the deception of the one that likes to deceive people as the loving Creator, but is in fact the destroyer, we must gain that discernment and pray for that daily. Ken O'Keefe, wow, you really want to know. It's 36 minutes. I mean, you put it at 1.75 speed, you're 20-something minutes. You knock this out, explains more so the wizard behind the curtain and the bigger reasons behind it. However, does any one of these individuals on their research potentially really hone in on the whole truth? Because there's slight indifferences from other people's research, but it's all generally covering the same individuals, the same benefits, and we were totally duped on who the actual threat was. And that is clear. But there becomes a level, once you grasp it, now the finer details become more so irrelevant, and it becomes futuristically relevant at the point where we start exposing that corruption, because now we could, down to specific individuals, find accountability. So there's no more hierarchy, right? And in eliminating the actual threats. But until then, just to grasp and gain the proper picture so we don't get deceived under the same dang methods wrapped up into more world wars, when our nation right here is falling apart around us. Look no further. I mean, what this man exposes right here regarding these storms, and so he's providing aid. Just listen to what he has to say.
A matter of life and death for the people of North Carolina. So, my name is Jonathan Howard. I'm a member of the Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit, and I'm also up here with Aerial Recovery, a nonprofit. I came up here on Sunday with Aerial Recovery before we even got activated. We flew up here, and then we got activated, which is great. I have my team up here working as well. Here's the problem. I'm going to tell you everything that's happening from the ground, what I'm actually seeing, because what they're telling you is complete bullshit on the news, and these politicians don't have a clue.
Surprise, surprise.
And I'll say this now, and I'll say it at the end of the video. The only thing I need from this video is helicopters. If I have helicopters, I can save lives. Without helicopters, I can't reach these people. It doesn't matter how many chainsaws and trucks I got, I can't get to them. They're 10 miles in, 20 miles.
We're talking pennies compared to what's been recently sent to Ukraine, Taiwan now, and Israel. Pennies. And this current treasonous administration is not, they don't care about us. Isn't that clear?
40 miles in the mountains. There's no way to get with them or even communicate with them. I am literally flying around in a civilian helicopter looking for SOS messages carved in the mud.
You're a hero.
And we're dropping down and saving them. What got me fired up about this was yesterday, me and my team did the rescue of that 11-day-old baby. And all these government officials and social media, they're showing that video, that pictures and video of that rescue, and claiming that they have some government helped with that.
Wow. Talk about very clear deception right there. Now that's on the smaller level. There's a bigger deception for this all, but clear cut, undeniable.
And I mean, even USA, I think it was USA Today, wrote an article about it saying it was a Florida National Guard that went and got it, with a helicopter. No, it was me, my buddy Charlie, and a civilian named Zeb with his own personal helicopter out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Without that civilian, that baby would be dead. And the old lady we went and rescued after that, she'd be dead too, because she had 1 day left of oxygen.
Wow.
No one was going to go get them. I will tell you, when we go up in the air, I probably see 40 civilian helicopters, and I might see 2 Blackhawks, National Guard, military, whatever they are. That's it. No one's out there doing rescues. I have my entire team up here from Florida right now, and they have no ability to go rescue these people other than what they can drive to. And the people that are in dire need, they're out in the mountains. They are completely cut off.
Wow.
Now, I will say, I spoke to my congresswoman down in Florida, and she's a badass, and she made a bunch of phone calls, and now we got 2 contracted 60s coming up here tomorrow, which is great. I love that, but I still don't understand why we don't have more helicopters. We'll get a lot of work done with that, but there's no military, there's no no one's doing nothing. It blows my mind. And they're not even allowing people to see what's really going on. One of our friends yesterday, they were actually escorting CNN down a Lake Lure, and they wouldn't even let CNN, the sheriff's department would not let them go videotape the bad areas, how destructive it is.
Wow.
I don't know why they don't want to show you all that, but I mean, it is bad. I should also say, when I flew here on Sunday, they actually stopped us from going in, the sheriff's department. And it was because of a bunch of politics that they were claiming was the Speaker of the House of North Carolina that was preventing us from even going in and trying to kick us out, which I have clarified today with North Carolina politicians that reached out to me, good on them, and they were like, that's complete bullshit. The Speaker of the House has nothing. He wants you guys there. But this is the kind of political BS that is happening here right now. Like, everyone's trying to be in charge without taking any type of action. Nobody wants to coordinate with anybody.
Everybody
wants to pretend like they're being a hero while these people are literally fucking dying in the mountains.
Right.
And these people, like I'm saying, these people are limited medication. They're running out of oxygen, and there's no one going to get them. The most effective way I have found to go find these people is by getting in a helicopter and flying down the rivers and roads and looking for SOS messages or people waving us down. And then we drop down and get them. We have all these people here. We have law enforcement. We have State Guard, National Guard. They have no way to go get these people. Yesterday, when I was at the Asheville airport refueling, which, by the way, the civilian is paying all this out of his own pocket. He's not even looking for a reimbursement. I think we did 4 refuelings yesterday.
Wow.
And that was like just in half a day's work. We're in Asheville, and I saw 2 Air Force helicopter 60s. And I knew they were PJs just looking at them. And I went up to them, I'm like, hey guys, like, what are y'all doing? And like, this is what you need to be doing. This is how I'm finding people. And they're like, we can't go. We're waiting on Title 10 orders. And I'm like, what? They can't get any authority. There's military helicopters all over here sitting on the ground, and they can't do nothing. Even my JSOC boys in Fayetteville, they can't get orders to come out here.
Isn't it clear? It's not that they don't care about us. They actively want to see the destruction. We have been targeted. We are our own government, the people, enemy. Why? Because they're catering to their rulers. We went over the list, but it's all under the Synagogue of Satan. Unbelievable. And we're just going to sit by? Does this type of disaster need to come closer to home for you to actually be like, okay, enough's enough? Sadly, yeah, for most people, it seems that is what it would take. And at that point, I'm sorry, frankly, it's too late. It's, in a way, too late. Now, we just best get right with God and seek his will and save some souls along the way.
It is just the most disgusting thing, and they're killing these people. And I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know what kind of conspiracy. I've heard so many things, whatever you want to come up with, but they are literally allowing these people to fucking die in the mountains right now because we can't get helicopters. They got money for everything else in the fucking world right now, but if they could just get us helicopters, we could fly out there and rescue these people. So I hope this video goes viral. I hope these politicians get fired. I hope people get pissed off. They'll probably kick me out of the state of North Carolina for doing this, but you know what? I don't care, because if I can save one more life for it, it's fucking worth it to me. I really don't want to make this video, but it...
Which it seems they have, actually. First, they say there's no money left to respond to hurricanes after FEMA used $640, almost $1 billion this year alone on illegal criminal migrants. I mean, it just blows my mind what's happening to Hawaii. And there's been no proper aid to this day to those people. We are not. You'd be under some type of delusion not to see these threats. That's why I even personally viewed the pandemic as a smoking freaking gun, because frick, they came after us individually, our loved ones, turned the hospitals into kill camps. To say anything otherwise is insanity in and of itself. How else do they come up with the gold standard protocol, remdesivir, after it failed and murdered over 54% of its patients? It wasn't effective, and they separate us from their loved one. It's just, if that's not war tactics, worse than bombs and bullets, it truly is worse. I don't know what to say. Now, I know she uses some colorful language too, but pretty powerful. Let's go ahead and play this one.
Something very sinister is happening in the Appalachians.
100%.
And we need to fucking talk about it.
Yes, we do.
Trigger warning. Anybody that's sensitive and can't handle hearing about this, go ahead and scroll. For those that are like me, that cannot allow this bullshit to continue, listen up. We've already seen the videos. We've already heard the eyewitness accounts. People stating, trigger warning, piles of unalived individuals being found in riverbanks, on the lakes, in the streets, in their
our
cars,
brothers and
nobody
sisters
seems to want to come to retrieve them. The fact that we could even allow that to happen, like the absolute utter disrespect for these people. These people were grandmothers and grandfathers and children and aunts and uncles. Like, since when do we not respect our dead? But then it gets worse. As you listen to these videos, as you watch these videos, you see the devastation. Whole roads are completely wiped out. And I understand if people are not familiar with mountain areas, they think, oh, it's one road, you go around. Yeah, that's not how it works. Most mountain regions maybe have one, maybe two roads that go in and out. And when those roads are wiped out, those people are completely abandoned up there. FEMA set up camp in an accessible area and has told multiple people that they will not bring aid to people in inaccessible areas, which makes you wonder why the fuck they're even there.
Right.
But that's okay. We have volunteers, right? Volunteers that'll go out, private individuals that are going to go out and help these people. Yeah, they're being threatened with arrest.
That gentleman became under threat himself and multiple others. Unbelievable. They're actively more so seeing the destruction. Never let a good tragedy go to waste. It's like they're magnifying the effects. Why could this be? Obviously, there's other information that uncovers a lot regarding this geographical location and certain things it could yield or provide. She kind of touches on it. Let's go.
People brought their privately owned helicopters to try to offer aid.
There's no
to get
coincidence.
these people off the mountains, or at least bring them supplies so they don't starve to death,
right,
or die from dehydration, because it has now been 6 full days of no water access for these people, and they're being threatened with arrest. Trucks have come to the region with supplies. Their tires are being slashed.
Yeah, what's up with
Something
that?
very sinister and evil is happening.
Yes.
Then you throw into the mix that there's a...
Why else would a supply truck with food, water, supplies get vandaled? I mean, there's so many things, like with the assassination attempts, the weaponization of the 3-letter agencies against civilians, trying to conjure up a false narrative regarding Jan 6, when in fact it was infiltrated with Antifas and more so a Fedsurrection than an insurrection. There were no firearms, and I mean, it's unbelievable. We must see things for what they actually are. How many are still taking these talking head narratives? When you start properly seeing the whole truth, it just ramps up the sense of urgency and what we need to do collectively, and whether we're just having a local community effect or within your family and you're walking on that straight and narrow, then whatever it leads to. But above all, it's just important that we get right with our Creator. I mean, I know I'm a broken record over here, but the cognitive dissonance at this point is truly, it's overwhelming. I don't know how else to put it.
Entire source of lithium under these mountains, and all of a sudden,
there we go.
Things start
Lithium
stacking right in place, don't they?
Yeah.
I just saw this post on X, and again, I try not to say that it's true, so that's for you, TikTok. I'm not trying to spread any misinformation. This is for educational purposes. However, they were specifically speaking about the government held a meeting in Chimney Rock and basically informed these people that the entire town will be bulldozed over, bodies and all.
Wow.
And that now the federal government owns that land.
Wow.
This is a fucking land grab.
Yeah.
They do not care about these people that are stuck in the mountains. They do not care about these people that were unalived by this.
100%.
And forgive me for sounding absolutely insane, but we all know that they've been able to manipulate weather for quite a long time.
You don't sound insane at all. Anyone that would view that insane, their disconnect is showing in full color, because it is well documented. And I'd love the opportunity to really dive in and provide those receipts and show HARP and all the methods with the chemtrails included as to geoengineering and how much they can in fact manipulate and create such storms. There is incredible amount of information on this, folks. And there's nothing conspiratorial about it. What's conspiratorial are these false narratives they're pushing, posing as though others are because there's no coincidences behind all this. When you look into this town, the certain groups well-funded that were trying to obtain and kick off mining operations, where the smaller town folk were just like not wanting to budge. Golly, it's like the Wild Wild West, but the perceived good guys by the civilization are the ones committing the most atrocious acts. Unbelievable. We are freaking retarded, I swear. And I don't frankly care if someone wants to take offense to that word right now, because it's kind of properly being used.
This technology has existed for a long time. So how am I supposed to believe that this is all coincidence? And how is it that I'm supposed to believe that this kind of lack of support is an accident?
Right.
I'm absolutely enraged, and I am not going to stop talking about this until there is some kind of resolution for these people. I am but one person. No. I don't have the resources to help. I don't have the time to go down there.
Same.
I don't have the funds to donate. But the one thing I can do...
Maybe I ought to just... I don't even have enough money in the account for gas to get there. But with how seemingly ineffective this is becoming... I mean, it's great to hear, oh, thank you, this helped me, or this or that, occasionally. But the proof is in the pudding. A year into this thing, hundreds of views. I'm sorry, it's just not cutting it. And I'm going to have to allocate my time and energy towards other things unless things properly shift. So, it's kind of up to you listeners as to whether or not you want to financially bless this platform and get behind to where we can continue and fight on your behalf, like we genuinely wanted to help bridge the gap for the working man. But it's literally getting to a point with this craziness all around us that, like, it's kind of getting to the point there isn't enough of us to support to make a difference. We all have a responsibility to play at this point, and we might just all have to sit down on our jobs and show up to rule out and face this evil, or just get what you get ultimately.
Is use my fucking voice, and I'm not going to shut up about this.
Good on you.
These people do not deserve this.
Right.
And for any of you idiots that think that they do, just know that you're next. We allowed this to happen in Maui. Right. And now we're allowing it to happen again in the Appalachians.
Right.
How long until it's your neighborhood or your town or your family being left to rot in the streets?
It's a healthy thought.
We need to fucking stop this. Please share, and if you're going to donate, only donate to churches. Apparently FEMA can't take the donations from the churches. So find local churches in the area, donate directly to them, or if you know somebody in the area, donate directly to them.
I like that. Because a lot of these churches are kind of for profit anyways, like unless you know and they are showing transparency as to how much, and if it's a full volunteer effort to where 100% of your funds are actually going towards the positive impact. Other than that, there's individuals like the gentleman that was supplying his own helicopter and his own money and all the refueling, someone like that that's willing to spend insane amounts of their own money to provide aid isn't going to misuse actual funds as much as churches have even been caught red-handed doing. And I don't mean to, it's just healthy to question everything. I mean, Under Armour got caught where they were actually falsely advertising X amount, I can't remember what it was, of the proceeds, when in fact less than 10% of the actual funds they got off of, I believe, their Fallen Soldiers or Wounded Warrior Project. They got caught red-handed with their hand in that cookie jar, and I just couldn't believe, because I had even at that time where I was working a normal job had even made donations to that organization. Unbelievable.
Because FEMA is not helping at all. Not to mention that
We
they're
want
stating they're apparently
outcomes.
out of money, but we could send billions of dollars to the Ukraine. I'm so fucking sick and tired of this.
Billions
and
to
I don't know
Israel.
what it's going to take for my fellow American to get to that point either.
Right.
This is absolutely fucking deplorable,
Yeah.
and it needs to stop. God bless the people of the Appalachians. My heart, my soul is with you. I pray that God puts his hands on you and delivers you to safety, because you truly are surrounded by evil right now.
Right.
And people like me will not stop talking about it.
Keep it up.
I don't give a fuck what TikTok does.
Good. They're one of the heavier censored platforms. I'm surprised. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if her account actually got flagged, taken down, even based on this very post, but at least she captured the footage and got it up on X, and it's pretty well going viral. Industrial strength cognitive dissonance right here. Look no further than this freaking image. Look at the license plate of this guy. Oh my gosh. I can't get over these dang freaking electric vehicles, EV vehicles or whatnot, and their blue license plates. They're actually proven like more harmful than your freaking diesel trucks. It's all a ruse. It's all a guise. It's true propaganda. We haven't refined the processes to create these vehicles, nor obviously keep recharging them with the whole false green agenda anyways. But how hilarious. What if the hypocrisy, this freaking beta male, ew, gas on his license plate. Ew, gas. And what's he doing? Now that a storm is coming, the need for gas for generators, interesting how that works. Like, come on. Let's stop lying to ourselves and fooling ourselves and how evil's preyed upon us to freaking, pedestal and speak out. It's like foolishness. It's such foolishness. Okay, that one's kind of out of left field here. Let's just get through this information and freaking wrap this up. I need to go for like a stroll through the woods and collect my thoughts. I'm genuinely seeking God's will and a direction. Now, I don't know. Maybe I've played my part. Maybe I've invested enough. A year, hundreds of episodes, connected plenty of freaking dots. I mean, I don't know. Let's do not be fooled. This man says some powerful things.
AIPAC spends $2 to $3 million a year lobbying Congress on behalf of Israel and promoting Zionist causes. And it frequently writes legislation for Congress.
that's
The
infringing
American
on our
Israel
amendment.
Education Foundation spends millions of dollars annually on paid trips to Israel for members of Congress. The Anti-Defamation League, ADL, spends millions of dollars annually spying on Americans who are critical of Israel. The International Fellowship of Christian and Jews uses a $100 million annual revenue stream to promote Israel Zionism. The Central Fund of Israel uses a $20 million revenue stream promoting Israeli settlements in Palestine. Christians United for Israel uses a $7 million annual budget to lobby members of Congress on behalf of Zionist causes. The Washington Institute for Near East Policy, Simon Wiesenthal Center, Israel Project, Friends of Israeli Defense Forces, Women's Zionist Organizations of America, the Jewish Agency for Israel, American Friends of Likud, American Israel Cooperative Enterprise, the Israel Allies Foundation, the Jewish Policy Center, etc., etc., etc.
Trying to paint the bigger picture as to how things are being weaponized against we the people. And this seems to be one of those singular narratives that people have a great disconnect with, this cognitive dissonance. Haven't looked into enough information to connect the dots, how this in and of itself has become a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're using biblical doctrine, churches, pastors, to egregiously misuse biblical scripture, totally negating the new covenant of Jesus, and just wrapping us blindly, using even on, like, is there anything more egregious? Like 9/11's one, that's pretty low blow. Like, that's evil. That's pure evil. But to now manipulate and use biblical doctrine and pull the wool over folks' eyes. I mean, what's next? What other tricks do they have up their sleeve to further? And that's where I feel, okay, the fluoride, the bioweapons, they've effectively been dumbing us down, the frequencies, the poisoning. I mean, yeah, it's... I'm done talking. I'm beyond. It's beyond enough is enough for me. And truly the greatest challenge is just the lack of response to people around. It's literally you yourself have to be in that war zone. Even then. Yeah. So I'm kind of getting blackpilled to a point of maybe it's time to just hone in and focus on the impacts I could. So it almost came full circle from me focusing and screaming, like not screaming, but just trying to educate everyone within my life, and but feeling selfish in doing so. Okay, let's magnify this and get on the digital space. But now after the lack of response, even in the digital space, it's almost like, well, maybe I'll hone back in on what really matters. And it's just the circle of influence I have in my life. Because it's just not enough. Not enough are hearing the alarm bells. Just, go on about our days. Not doing the research. Ignorance is not good.
The thing that kicked off more than any other thing the great prosperity in this country was the GI Bill and the bills after World War II that made it easy for GIs to buy houses, to get into houses with low mortgage payments. So what I'm going to do as soon as I get in there is I'm going to start working on the tax code to make it very, very unprofitable for these big companies to come in and buy, millions of houses.
Wow, this is connecting two very profound dots. I mean, the war machine in and of itself, how it's been weaponized. I got to shut off this dang device. I can't believe. Unbelievable. Silent. Don't get any freaking calls and nothing for a minute, and then do an episode, and I apologize. But then connecting the dots to these big corps They're making it completely unaffordable. They're literally taking away our opportunities for generational wealth. It's literally, as the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab has stated, that we're a bunch of useless eaters and that we'll own nothing and be happy. They're fulfilling that in this very nation. With Hawaii, this more recent event, I mean, even here locally in our towns, and then even with the pandemic and the stress it put on businesses. So even on the commercial real estate side of it, they came in and just boom, land grabs, and it's just putting them in the profit seat and less in us, in less and less of ownership, and just creating the bigger divide, securing this hierarchy, this two-tiered infrastructure that much more. And once they have full control, I mean, they could just squeeze us and direct us any which way we want. Centralized digital currencies, the mark of the beast, full monitoring of everything. Control is to, like, even keeping you within a certain box, literally. Like, once you go outside of X amount of miles or something, they could literally shut down your cards. Or is it going to go there? Like, absolutely. And they projected just that. And they've already implemented it in other countries to an extent. They 100% want that here. So if you value freedom at all, that's where, what does your job matter? What does your bank account matter? What does what you even acquire at this point matter at that level of tyranny, when such a low population supposedly owns, like, it won't even matter what you own. Let's just freaking take it at that point. What's going to stop them? Unbelievable. It's so clear when people actually take the time and connect everything.
And they should be, our children should not have to compete against these giant, billion. And of course, the way they do it is because they have better access to capital. Because they have lower interest costs. So they, of course, can go and take all the land in our country. And by the way, there's now all kinds of articles that show that the best farmland in Europe is Ukraine. And our arrangement with Ukraine is, we're going to give you all this money, but you have to pay it back. And the way you pay it back is through austerity programs, beginning with something they call the land market, which forces all the farmers in Ukraine essentially to sell their land to BlackRock. So, the Ukrainian people, 400,000 of them have died to protect their land on the Russians. Their land is being taken from them by BlackRock.
Wow.
The system is rigged. And it's rigged. Thomas Jefferson's vision of our country was, he said, the only way democracy would survive is if it was based on widespread diverse ownership of land by tens of thousands of independent freeholds owned by families, each with a stake in our system. And we cannot afford to have a single mega corporation essentially own all of them. I mean, they're buying all the farmland too, but to own all our single family homes, and our kids are having to compete against these behemoths because they have those low costs. I'm going to change the tax code to make it very, very difficult for them to compete with our children. And also going to make a 3% mortgage available to Americans, as many as I can, hopefully in the millions. And the way that I'm going to do it without raising the budget deficit, which is really important, that we get off of that addition. And the way that I'm going to do that is, that if you have a rich uncle and he'll co-sign your loan, you can get a much lower rate, because the bank is looking at his credit rating instead of yours. So I'm going to give every American a rich uncle. He's called Uncle Sam. And I'm going to get Uncle Sam to backstop these mortgages. And then we're going to finance those mortgages by selling 3% tax-free bonds. And we're going to give the first $500,000 to teachers. And because we need to support education. Those loans will only be available to people who live in that community and are employed in that community and remain in that community. And
well, be sure to add that. You can watch it in its entirety, but let's move on. Let's step back again and look at the big picture, folks. Golly, So many egregious outcomes, 9/11, so many things where we got to see how we've been duped. We've been used, deceived to our own detriment. And they continue to do it. And I just want, we must acknowledge what's happened even in our own time, and more honestly, historically, what's taken place to effectively maneuver and navigate through these egregiously very big threats we're facing. So, once again, this is a smoking gun. But Trudeau's government, even with their tyrannical censorship, they've been more so forced to admit the soaring excess deaths in Canada linked to COVID boosters. They got so tyrannical. Yeah, I'm kind of done in this moment. I'm fed up. I'm so fed up. They directly attacked us. And the cognitive dissonance regarding the scamdemic in and of itself, we're just walking delusionally as though we can go back to a life of normalcy without addressing that is utterly insane. It just becomes entirely proof to me that the World Economic Forum, the damn synagogue of Satan, has effectively hacked the masses, at least enough of us, and has effectively achieved what they've stated on having the technology to control the masses, just leading to more cognitive dissonance to our own detriment. And this is proof. You see this. You see this very point right here. Go back. Absorb how they pushed this. They forced this. They mandated this. They wanted everyone. They literally wanted it so tyrannical that if you wouldn't get it, that you were going to be imprisoned or put into a camp, which they started erecting those camps right here in this country, the USA, and other countries. But they kind of lost control of that narrative, luckily, before it got to that point. But that's where they wanted to go. That's how extreme it was. And now the information's coming out, and they're having to, they went as hard as they could with the narrative and building as much momentum as they could, to the point of we the people waking up to an extent. So we've woken up to an extent, but not enough. Where's the true accountability? It's just proof to me that we are in the end times. And this just blows my mind. Am I just going to end up being like these fellas? They sacrificed their own freedoms to warn us. They put their lives on the line to warn us, folks. Just standing on truth. 10 years later, nothing has changed. In fact, you could see evil ramping up its tactics, wrapping us up into a potential actual, like, physically missile, traditional World War III. The same dang synagogue that duped us over 9/11. So many things. Think of all the egregious outcomes. Unbelievable. Cures to cancers. They couldn't allow us to, because it would have provided too much freedom, too much blessing to obtain the water engine, things of that nature. They've withheld to our detriment as a people, as a society, on too many dang things. And they keep pushing the envelope. Shoot, I had a message with, let's see if I could even pull it up in time in closing, I do look forward to diving into, some biblical scripture. I can't even find it. But it essentially was someone in my life talking on the cognitive dissonance and the disconnect and the delusion we've all been duped. And he's just like, I can't even believe, and I just made the point of essentially, I can't even do it justice. I'm fried. I'm limited. Heck, I genuinely haven't had enough we've had amazing warriors. Don't get me wrong. And I'm so grateful for every single one of them. But the fact not enough, like I'm not bombarded even for people to really come on. And it's just like, you know what? I like what you're doing. I want to connect some dots. I've done my research on this particular topic, and it's freaking ghosts. I'm throwing out a muzzlechat@gmail.com, and there's not a flood of Americans looking to secure their future and their children's future. Unbelievable. What other podcast is really open to having every American on? Yeah, I'm a little disheartened. It's just like, what am I doing? Painting a big target on my back for what? I'm fed up. Enough is enough. And I see so much suffering. It's insanely sad. There's more we all could do. Adultery actually jumped out at me today. Let's actually kick off some tuners. Maybe it'll put me in a little better mood. States. So there's some biblical references I challenge you to look into. I obviously need to dive more into this book today and do some walk and do some prayer because I'm disheartened. I even believe that Jesus' calling is going to touch on that a little bit and give us solutions when we're heavy laden, burdened. But we should have no other gods. Exodus 23. What the frick is this treasonous flag being hung from all our places? It's literally a demonic symbol. Prove me wrong. It has no correlation to being the Star of David. It's a Star of Ramphran, which is the star of Satan. Almost said David. Which is the star of Satan. It's idol worship. It's worshiping other gods. We should have no other gods. Exodus 23. Do not be devoted to anyone or anything more than God. Deuteronomy 4:23. Devote your heart to God. Joshua 24:14. Look to God for your security. Judges 10:13 through 16. We give in to idolatry when we forget God. Psalm 106:19 22. 19 through 22. It's proof. It's not. It's an either or, folks. There's no middle ground. The devil owns the stinking fence. If you don't tap into the biblical truths and our loving Creator and seek thoroughly, meekly this for yourself, then you'll forget God and you'll end up worshiping the one of this world, essentially the synagogue of Satan, and there's nothing in this existence that is worth that. Nothing. Jesus conquered death. He proved it. How important was it through everyone through this historical book and even more recent that lived their lives of this world and obtained this and that and everything, or fell short of everything they wanted? What does it matter in the end? They're no longer with us. Jesus conquered death, showed us, proved to us, gave us the evidence that there's more than this existence. So sure, you want to fall for the miracles and the deceit of the evil one and be limited to a God that was conquered, that lost even in the wars of heaven that took place depicted in this Bible before, or a loving creator that beat Satan in that regard, but he wants us all to have the choice. He's a merciful, loving God that put us in this existence to essentially choose and have the free agency to choose. What do you choose? Do you choose to stay ignorant? Do you choose to walk in delusion? I don't know. I'm sure showing up with a lot of my flaws today, aren't I? God will not share his glory with anything else. Isaiah 42:8. Christians cannot serve both God and the things of this world. Luke 16:13. Christians. Should we say self-proclaimed Christians? Because what else are you doing if you're showing up serving the things like of this world? In this era right now, with the threat so badly, I just find it, what if you're not showing up to the best of your ability to kind of make ends meet yet / fight against this, like, I just don't see how we would be more so serving God versus the things of this world. That's Luke 16:13. I'll just challenge people to look into that for themselves. Jesus is calling. I sure need it. So October is pretty cool. It's come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. Boy, do I need that rest today. I am walking in my own sin. I could feel it. It's no good. But if it somehow resonates with someone and snaps them into, you know what, seeing something, I guess so be it. This October 3rd reads, when many things seem to be going wrong, trust me. I've fallen out of that trust, haven't I? When your life feels increasingly out of control, thank me. These are supernatural responses, and they can lift you above your circumstances. If you do what comes naturally in the face of difficulties, you may fall prey to negativism. Wow, why am I tripping up? Clearly, I'm successfully fulfilling this live in front of you here today. I look forward to seeking forgiveness and finding that peace yet again. I genuinely do. As mortals, we ebb and flow time and time again. It's a forever work. I'm fulfilling the proof of that right here. Even a few complaints can set you on a path that is a downward spiral. In a way, that's kind of what's led to a lot of this. By darkening your perspective and mindset, more so becoming black-pilled, just frustrated. What are we doing? We're more so projecting as Christians than fulfilling it. Unbelievable. Forgive me, Father. I'm falling short. With this attitude controlling you, complaints flow more and more readily from your mouth. Holy smokes. This is smacking me right up beside the face. Each one moves you steadily down the slippery spiral. The lower you go, the faster you slide. But it is still possible to apply brakes. Cry out to me in my name. Affirm your trust in me, regardless how you feel. Thank me for everything, though this seems unnatural, even irrational. I am so grateful. There's so many things to be grateful for. I'm grateful to even be in this time and witness so much of the revelations and prophecies being fulfilled right here, right now. What a blessed time. All right, where was I? Even irrational. Gradually, you will begin to ascend, recovering your lost ground. When you are back on ground level, you can face your circumstances from a humble perspective. If you choose supernatural responses this time, trusting and thanking me, you will experience my unfathomable peace. Been there. Look forward to getting back to that 100%. 2 biblical references I challenge you to look into. We got Psalm 13:5 and Ephesians 5:20. Now, as a mortal man, I guess I didn't want to get to this crossroad. I wanted to continue on to the best of my ability, sounding the alarm. But it's kind of coming to a point, in order to continue even breathing, living, fueling my body with food and things, I got to go a more responsible route in this life. So I guess it's my own mortal frustration, feeling as though I'm inadequate, as though I haven't provided a genuine enough service over the last year of fully investing into this. It, in I guess more words, seems like a failure to an extent. So, seeking direction from God. Do I mortgage the house? Do I sell the home? I mean, that's minimal equity to continue on this path, and to what point? After a year, it's pretty giving it a pretty good fair shake as to whether this is even a sustainable road to even go on, or what a journey though. Nonetheless, there's nothing but extreme gratitude to tap into, irregardless. I think there's something to take from this, and this one stated fatherhood. A God for all generations. May the Lord our God be with you as he was with our father. May he never leave us nor forsake us. May he turn our hearts to him to walk in his ways and keep his commandments, decrees, and regulations he gave our fathers. 1 Kings 8:57-55. You are the God of my father and of those men in my life whom I count as mentors. I thank you for the gift of salvation that ties me to prior generations. As I reflect on my lineage, I know it is not the blood of my family lines that make me who I am, but the blood of Christ. See, this is profound. This really kind of sums up that last very challenging episode regarding the whole anti-Semitism narrative and how they're using old scripture and biblical doctrine and getting us. I mean, I find it very deceitful, and I don't like the verbiage of God's chosen people in today's day and age. It's essentially pedestaling certain individuals to view themselves, which is leading to very destructive psychology. And it's even, I mean, any Christian to even kind of take that type of pedestaling, can't you see how you'd push people away from even genuinely wanting, like, a non-believer to even seek? Like, if that's your God, like, and that's who, like, as a non-believer, that would push me further away. Isn't there a less of these type scripture referencing into actually fulfilling Christ to attract people in because you're more so the servant? So mortally, just the verbiage of God's chosen people, like it's just disgusting in this era. It's disgusting. God's chosen people. It's like there's just salvation through Christ. Let's not egregiously misuse. Let's actually read the whole Bible. Look at the big picture. And through the gift, the covenant of Jesus Christ and the sacrifice he made, and we're all at that dinner table, the blood lineage no matter becomes relevant. The only relevance, the only level of importance to that is just for historical knowledge and understanding how things came to be. But to now take it egregiously out of context, you know where I'm coming from, or am I just spinning my wheels here? God, give me a heart for you that beats so strong and so pure that it resounds in my children. Let my legacy be one of faith. Order my priorities so my children feel precious and loved, so I can introduce them to what it feels like to be your child. Wow. Amen. And whether you have children or not, to grasp just that, it's effectively that meekness and that purity that should resonate with those in your life, whether it's your children or your friends or your colleagues or the just people you bump into as you go about your life. Okay, all is being said, folks. This is kind of just a last-ditch effort. I'm very grateful for Mark and what he does, and he's a true patriot, and he actually is trying to provide individuals that are content creation. You know, he wants to do it to those that he more so aligns with and morals and values, and that's why I can't say how important it is for people to actually check out what he's offering as a service. Yes, it's a business. Yes, it's so he can pay bills, but also provide people like me to continue on the path we are, knowing like, wow, the more he can kind of support individuals like that, that's more so going to secure our future and come in alignment with why we're here in so many things. So I'm grateful for Ensure a Patriot. And that was the little commercial we had on repeat at the beginning of this episode. Let's go ahead and do a screen share here. I'm going to play the commercial, but don't go anywhere. Like, this is like a last ditch effort call to action. We all have personal insurance, business, like medical insurance and life insurance, right? Through what he's offering, the Unmuzzled Chat family, by calling or clicking, just mentioning Unmuzzled, he will give you free assessments and analysis of your situation. And he's going to be upfront. He's going to be honest. He's an honest man. And there's an opportunity for upping your coverage. There's an opportunity for saving money. There's an opportunity for more so supporting a godly patriot. Like, what insurance are you using now? And I believe he provides national coverage. So, there might even be, anyway, information doesn't hurt. So if you can align with him, that benefits him and somehow benefits this platform to continue what we're doing. This is just a win for everyone. It's how we come together as a community and support one another to our benefits. And that kind of rising tide, rise all ships idea. Let's go ahead and it's insureapatriot.com. We'll have it plugged in for the first time in the comment sections below. But we also even have the phone number. So individual, business, even life insurance. We'll even plug it right here. Hours 9. I believe this is Eastern time. But yeah, there's a number 347-433-5590. That's 347-433-5590. He will take care of you. Information doesn't hurt. It's crazy. I'm losing faith in the people. I just need to put my faith in God. 100%. And my path might be going off. No matter how much I want to continually do this, it may just be coming a time, hey, we served our purpose and it's going another way. But it's like people won't even take the necessary action to even take care of their own health. Yet actually sit down and check this out, or set it down and get information about Patriot Mobile, or set it down and look at the EMP threats and look at the savings from that, or eradicate their bodies from toxins with a bomb charge and 15% off, or the Masterpiece tincture, or look into the American Reserves and how we're sounding the alarm and taking advantage of the 10% off there. My goodness, there's just not enough reaction to even consider potentially. So I kind of feel insane myself at this point, to be honest. But I have, let's see. Let's play that commercial one more time, and then we'll wrap things up. Oop. Of course it came up on the wrong screen. How do I...
At InsureAPatriot.com,
Come
our
on.
partners are aligned with your values.
I'm not clicking the buttons fast enough. I apologize, folks. You know, it's just a painful realization because I freaking love you all. And I want the best for you. And I genuinely have fought tooth and nail over this last year to just help try to secure a future by sounding the alarm, showing up my flaws, stumbling in my own face, my own words. I mean, my goodness. My personal story, it convicted in me so profoundly how threatening the biological warfare, how important it is we maintain our health to even have a fair chance at making the spiritual connections and living a life full of peace and meaning no matter what happens. So I've ebbed and flowed in and out of that walk myself to an extent, but just really, because man, the bioweapon Lyme disease, it's no freaking joke. I'm still fighting it to this day. That might actually be what's really holding me back from being more effective. But I can't, I did my best to not allow that to hinder showing up to whatever capacity I could. Let the haters hate. Anyway, let's just play this commercial. I'm just rambling. But I love you. And I want the best for you. And I hope somehow we were able to provide something useful for you over this last year. Let's full screen this sucker. Get my mug off of there.
At InsureAPatriot.com, our partners are aligned with your values. While we can't control who the most efficient carrier is for your area, we become the service model that acts as the intermediary with you and the best products in the market. No more waiting on robocalls to be shipped off to a foreign call center.
Well, I guess that's that. Let me end this screen share. Does this mean I'm done? No, it doesn't. I want to show up and freaking wage war on these evildoers more than ever. I genuinely do. I just don't. I can't ensure I'm going to be showing up here every day. I just don't have the funds to do that anymore. I got to start looking elsewhere to survive this existence. Now, if God leads me to selling the home and ending up in a situation where I can continue to show up, I will. I don't see anything more important than this, even with the lack of growth, to be honest with you. So even if I'm speaking to one other individual or a multitude, well, if I was only speaking to 5, then it's like, all right, I can align efforts in this existence where I'm effectively speaking to more people, even a freaking grocery store, than that. But so the digital space still seems to be more effectively reaching more people. So the time, as I crack my voice, the time I'm spending here seems to be, I don't know, kind of at this time the best thing I can come up with. But it's just not. There's too much involved to even create this very episode. I don't have the freaking time to do it. I just don't. Like, I got financial pressures just ramping up. So we will see. I'll show up as much as I can. 100%. I just don't know what that looks like right now. And I'm seeking answers from God. So we'll see. But I love you, and I'll see you when I can see you. And I'm able to commit this time, this energy. I guess that's it. With that being said, I hope our loving Creator shows up and blesses you in your life tremendously. And I know He's looking after this nation and all His people across the world. The question more so becomes, are we opening that door to Him? Are we opening the wrong door to the one that's really deceiving us? I hope we gain that discernment. He's there to provide that to you. I pray we all tap into that. So with that being said, until next time, take care.